Okay, so we're going to do some number property work today, okay? And you guys have all heard of these before. You've done these last year in 6th grade. Okay, so let's start with distributive property, okay? This is one of the four other ones, or I'm sorry, 5 other ones that we're going to talk about. So distributive property, you guys have seen this before, but I'm going to show you a few examples here to let you know what really it looks like after you distribute. So we're going to focus in on this guy here, 3, okay? 3 parenthesis means 3 times whatever's inside. So 3, we're really going to take this 3 and multiply it by first the x, and then by the 5 next, okay? So how you'd want to write this out is like this, okay? 3 times x, okay? And then you're going to add it because it's addition inside the parentheses. So whatever 3 times 5 would be, okay? And then you would figure that out depending what x is. Okay, so let's go to number 2. Let me show you with an arrow. This may help you see. Okay, so we're going to take 2 here, and we're going to multiply it by the a first. So it's kind of like this, 2 times a. Okay, so this is going to be 2 times, a, not x, a. And because it's now a subtraction sign here, do you see this? We're going to now put a subtraction in between, and then multiply 2 times the next term that's in our parentheses, which is b. Okay, that's all. And then down here, we're going to look at our negative 5, okay? And we're going to multiply negative 5 times a positive 4, and write it negative 5 times 4. And then it's an addition sign inside, so we're going to write plus whatever negative 5 times t is. Make sure you write your t's cursive so it does not look like an addition sign, okay? And then same thing with number 4, negative 7 times 9. And then remember, this is the subtraction sign here. So we're going to subtract negative 7 times x, okay? And if you notice here, you see a minus a negative, right? So I think you guys know by now we have to change the sign and add a line. So keep that in mind for the future, okay? So be careful. Don't forget that rule. Number 5, we have a 3 times a negative 2. So we're going to write that 3 times negative 2. And there's actually a y attached to the 2. So that's our term there. We're going to leave them together. That's okay. And then we're going to write minus because there's a subtraction sign inside those parentheses. And then again, 3 times, we did that. We're going to do 3 times 4. And that's it, okay? And then lastly, we're going to deal with this guy down here. This is probably the most important problem. I'm going to put a little asterisk next to number 6, okay? Why is this important? Well, because of this guy in the front here, this negative, okay? He is hiding a 1 here. Remember ghosty 1? So I'm going to put the 1 in before I do anything. Okay, so it's not negative times 4 minus y. It's negative 1 times 4, and then negative 1 times negative y. So we're going to write that like this. Negative 1 times 4 minus, because it's a subtraction sign, negative 1 times times y. Okay, and then we notice here we have minus a negative, 2 negatives next to each other. We're going to make that, change the sign, add a line, so plus. If you want to rewrite it with 1 addition sign, you can. Okay? Okay, let's go to our next slide. Commutative property. Okay, so all this says is if you have a variable a, so say a is 3, and then you have a variable b, and let's say b is 4. A plus b, 3 plus 4, will always be what b plus a will equal. So even though I flip-flopped it here, a plus b is the same thing as b plus a, even though I flip-flopped it, that won't change the value of the answer. It still will equal the same thing, okay? So in number 2, we're looking at 2 plus 3, okay? That is the same thing as 3 plus 2, is it not? Well, let's see. What's 2 plus 3? This equals 5, right? And what's 3 plus 2? That's also 5. So 5 equals 5. That's what the commutative property tells us, that no matter what order we add in, it won't make a difference, okay? Same thing with down here. 5 plus 2 is 7. And then that should equal 2 plus 5, which is also 7. Simple, right? Okay, next property B, commutative property of multiplication. Same idea, but guess what? It's not addition, it's now multiplication. So A times B is the same exact thing as B times A. So let's say A was 2, B was 3. It's the same thing as if you multiplied 3 times 2. So the order doesn't matter. So 2 times 3 would be 6, right? And then 3 times 2 would also be 6. So do you see how they equal each other? And then same thing down here. 5 times 2 would be the same thing as 2 times 5. Okay, so all you need to do is understand that it does not matter the order when we talk about multiplying and adding. It doesn't matter the order of whatever we write our number or our equation or our expression. It will still be the same answer. Let's move on to the associative property of addition. This is probably the most confusing, even though it really isn't too bad. It looks like a lot, but it's not. So here we have in number 1, A plus B plus C. Okay, if we put a parentheses around A plus B, that means we have to do this first, correct? Because that's what PEMDAS tells us, right? Parentheses first. So if we did this first and then we added C, it should really not matter if we move the parenthesis here. Okay? So if we've moved the parenthesis from here to here, from around A to B, A plus B to B plus C, your answer should not change. Why? Probably because we're using addition, right? So let's say down here we have actual numbers. This may be easier to understand. Okay? So now we're going to move our parentheses from being around 3 plus 5 to 2 plus 3. Let me do a different color. There we go. So if we move the parentheses, will it change the answer from this left side to the right? Well, let's see. Let's do, okay, so 2 plus 3 plus 5. Let's do this first. 3 plus 5 equals 8. Okay, and then if we add the 2 plus 8, what do we get? 10. So this side equals 10 in number 2. And then if we go to this right side over here and we do 2 plus 3 first, that would equal 5. And then we add the other 5. Guess what that also equals? 10. So both sides equal 10. So does it really matter where your parentheses are when we add 2 or 3 or 4 numbers? No. Okay? Same thing down here. We have A plus 2 plus 5. So we can write this as, I'm going to actually scooch this down a little bit. Okay? We can write this as A plus 2 plus 5 with parenthesis around 2 plus 5 instead. And no matter how we did this or this problem, it still would give us the same answer. We cannot do it until we know what A equals, but I hope you guys get the idea of this. So attack that worksheet and do your best you can. And if you have any questions, save them for Monday, okay? All right, bye.